Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the eSports Report presented by Xbox One. Puckett and Jack here today in the New York City studio. And the next story we're talking about is a big deal that went down on social media yesterday. We saw everyone traveling back from UMG, and Parasite and Enigma 6 first announced Parasite is leaving Enigma 6. The question was, which Pro League team is he going to, Jack? We know that answer now.
We finally have it official. Isolation Empire, he's going to be, well, he was officially announced as a sub, but now he's going to be playing tonight in their matchup versus Rise. Here's a look at the roster. Havoc, Dido, Silly, and Parasite, if you didn't get to tune in this past weekend at UMG Dallas. This squad finished 7th, 8th, with GodRx filling in for Llama God. Right now, though, Isolation sits at 1-3 in Season 3.
All right, let's bring in Havoc from Isolation to discuss the move live. Havoc, man, first and foremost, congratulations on not only winning the relegation tournament to get into the Pro League, but also a top 8 finish now at UMG Dallas. How was the weekend for you?
Thank you. It feels real nice.
Now, talk to me a little bit about UMG Dallas. How did you feel the team played with GodRx filling in for Llama God?
So Dallas, we had GodRx scrim with us one time before Llama, so we were kind of shaky on how our uplink was kind of shaky and everything. That we had little gaps that we had to fill in during the actual event, because usually when we play with Llama, he does the OBJ work a lot, and we had to teach Adam kind of filling in for him. So we felt kind of shaky, but we ended up placing top 8 with a huge clutch 5-5 to get to top 8. Adam, GodRx, and Silly clutched a 2v4 against Rise. Actually knocked them out for top 12, and we ended up losing to Optic Gaming for top 8.
And you, of course, in that Optic Gaming, an incredible 1v4. Congrats on making it to my top 5 on that as well. But talk to me about the team. Are you making a move permanently to replace Llama God, or is Parasite just filling in until Llama God can get back?
Right now, I can't speak on if he's staying for permanent or anything like that. I don't know the full details just yet, but soon we will announce everything, and everyone will know who is set to stay here in Isolation Esports.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'd say play a few games before you make any decisions. Talk to me a little bit about Parasite. Did you know this move was coming? Is it something that you wanted? What are you looking forward to with playing with him on the team?
So I can't wait to play with him. Honestly, we weren't expecting to make any roster changes, but personal things happened with Llama God that we ended up having to replace him for now or for permanent. I'm not sure yet. But everything will be announced soon. Parasite, I've never played with him before. I hear he's a really good player, and I can't wait to play with him.
Now, big concerns at the desk here, and also throughout the community was, how is the communication going to work? Currently, who calls the shots for Isolation? So,
shot calling is mostly Dido. He tells, what should we do in this situation? What should we do in that situation? So, he's going to be calling most of the shots. I think everything's going to go good with the communication-wise, and yeah.
Is this your first night of playing together with Parasite?
Yeah, this is gonna be the first match and night or scrim that we've ever played. So we'll see how it goes.
That should be real interesting to say the least. Now, Havoc, I gotta ask, in regards to the addition of Parasite, what are you really looking to improve with your lineup now in Season 3?
So in Season 3, we need to start winning these matches, clutching up. And with Parasite, I feel like we're gonna get a lot of scrim time, a lot of grind time.
Yep.
We're gonna be playing all the time. We're gonna fill in those gaps that we don't have filled in yet, and we should be winning these matches now.
I'm looking forward to you guys playing more. And, Parasite, love him or hate him, he's a very polarizing player out there. The man puts up numbers.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that is something that you guys have kind of been missing in some of the hard points. I see a lot of your wins. You're up against the wall early, and you're having to mount the late game comeback. I think Parasite bringing in a little slaying power is going to help you guys out there. Have you discussed roles? Who is now going to be filling in that objective role that Llama God is leaving?
So me and Parasite are going to be using subs mostly. I'm permanent sub, but me and him are going to be working the objective, the hill work, uplink, ball, all that kind of stuff. We're going to get everything set and see what works best with us.
Now, we have numbers here that we use to kind of tell the public what we think is your strongest and weakest game modes. Right now, if you could play one game mode for $1 million, is it Hardpoint, is it Search, or is it Uplink?
Ooh.
Without Llama God, it was S&D. With Llama God, it was Hardpoint. With Parasite, it's either Hardpoint or S&D right now, in my opinion.
Hardpoint or Search. So Uplink, your weakest, fair to say?
I think Uplink is our weakest.
All right.
Now, at least.
Tonight,
we're gonna improve on it.
Tonight you play against Rise Nation, who also made a major change. They bring in Apathy last second here. How do you feel about the matchup against Rise Nation?
I feel like it's going to go 3-0 or 3-1 in our favor. I think Apathy on the squad now, I think it's better for us.
Really? Why is
really dominant online, so we'll see.
Okay. And why do you think it's better to be playing against Apathy than TJ Howie here?
So TJ and them have, obviously, they've been practicing a lot together, and now they're just jumping in, just like we are with Parasite. So, I mean, it's actually going to be really interesting, but I think we're going to take it. I think we're going to take the match either 3-0 or 3-1.
This went to Game 5 just 2 days ago at UMG.
Oh, yeah.
Can you kind of tell me how these two teams matched up? How did that match play out? Because I didn't get a chance to catch it live.
So I think we ended up losing the Hardpoint, winning the first S&D, winning the uplink, losing the Hardpoint, and then clutching up 5-5 in the S&D last map. But I think we're gonna start clutching up these uplinks or these Hardpoints now that we have Parasite.
Well, I don't want to curse you guys, but I'm hoping for another round 11, man. Best of luck tonight in your match against Rise Nation.
Thank you.
Havoc, thank you so much for coming on the show. Any shout-outs you want to give before you leave?
Shout out to Isolation Empire for supporting us, all of our sponsors, all my family and friends. We're gonna take this win tonight, and yeah, we're gonna get it.
All right, Havoc, best of luck, my friend. That is Havoc from Isolation Empire, Isolation eSports. You can watch them tonight. They're in our first match just a half hour from now, playing against Rise Nation on the big screen, big stage here.
Yeah.
Parasite, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts here. With the addition to the lineup, how does he fit in?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but my biggest issue comes down to team chemistry, as we mentioned. It's on every team with Parasite, but as we all know, Dido also can have a personality that can. He has let's just say he's a little stubborn in some of his mindsets as well in games, so it's going to really come down to where they can compromise in their play styles. As we all know, Parasite has, well, since the beginning of Black Ops 2, always been someone who has an idea of how a game mode should be played and sticks to it no matter what. Looking forward, though, to seeing how he fills in on this roster. I think Havoc hit it on the nose. They're going to be a stronger search team. They're going to be a stronger hardpoint team. Really, if they can start winning those uplinks, this team could really turn this around.
Yeah, I mean, a 1-3 start for Isolation. You're really hoping Parasite can bring the numbers that he's brought to the table in the past. Veteran player, capable of playing at the most stressful situations. Really strong uplink game as well. Number 1 in uplinks per game, 3.76 during Season 1 with FaZe. So he kind of gravitated to that game mode early on and was able to become a boss in it. You heard Havoc say it's kind of their weakness right now. Didn't touch on Parasite helping him in the uplink game, but I think you're definitely going to see that as the season progresses. I
mean, I really think he helps them overall, but it just comes down to how quickly they can get that team chemistry down in game. The shot calling aspect, Dido's been doing it for them. You know Parasite's going to want to start doing it. How's that clash going to happen? And they haven't even played together yet once. I think Havoc said he's really never even played with him. You heard him say, I've heard he's a good player. So it really is going to be interesting to see how this first matchup against Rise goes for this new squad.
Well, we appreciate Havoc jumping on the show. I know this team is going to be going and warming up. 20 minutes till kickoff. Here's a look at your matches tonight, guys. It's all getting started at 6 p.m. as Isolation Empire is going to be facing off against Rise Nation. Team Caliber faces FaZe at 7 p.m. before Elevate takes on Optic Nation, and we will see Envy go up against Orbit to close out the night. Let's talk about Rise Nation before we jump to the TK FaZe match. For those of you just tuning in, there was a major change today. Rise Nation making room for a new player. Apathy is going to be joining TCM also last week, towards the end of last week, joining the squad in place of Gunjar, who is traded as a sub on FaZe.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something that came out of nowhere, as we were mentioning earlier on in the show. So if you are just tuning in, this caught Chris and I off guard just as much as just catching you off guard. They're going to have that first matchup tonight up against ISO, two teams who've made some major changes in just the last 24 hours. Going to come down to who can really get the momentum in their favor off the start, who can clutch up in the search and destroys, and I really think the uplink could go either way.
It's going to be interesting, man. I don't know what is going to come out of this, but I'm sure looking forward to it. Isolation now with Parasite in place of Llama God. Rise Nation with TCM and Apathy in place of TJ and Gunjar, who started this season.
Yeah.
That's a look at our first matchup, but let's move it now to the 7 o'clock match. TK versus FaZe. TK a 1-3 start. FaZe 3-1. Their only loss, of course, coming to Optic Gaming. Talk to me a little bit about this matchup, Jack. What are you expecting to see from Team Caliber this evening?
I mean, I think it's really going to come down to if they can even stand their chance in the hard points. They're 1-7 right now in this season. I think FaZe is going to dominate them in that game mode, even if they can sneak the S&D.
I'm going to chalk game one up to
exactly.
the UMG
I'm
Dallas
trying not to be too one-sided here, but maybe it can go to a game 4. I don't see how TK wins a single respawn.
Let's look back at the hard points here. So FaZe versus the Dallas champion, or the Dallas champions in FaZe versus Team Caliber.
Yeah.
TK 1-7 in the regular season. FaZe on LAN 10-0, I believe was the stat. They didn't drop a single hard point throughout the event. They only dropped 2 games total.
Which I think were both uplinks because they went 8-0 in S&D. And it's that's what I'm saying. It's like,
so if you're TK, you need to win game 2 and you need to win game 3. That's the only way
to have a
you
chance
stay in this
series.
Matchup against FaZe.
And you're gonna have to do it in 2 game modes. That you're gonna have to do it in a game mode that they didn't lose once at UMG, which was S&D at 8-0.
Yep.
Then you're gonna have to beat them in uplink, which they were just as strong in as well. They only had 2 maps lost in that, but they went, what, a 25-2 map record across the whole weekend. FaZe looking strong as ever right now.
The overall outcome, though, I mean, at the end of the day, you saw 0 losses in Hardpoint, 0 losses in Search and Destroy. But don't be fooled. FaZe was taken to the wire multiple times in Hardpoint. Also, I remember, I think, at least 3 round 11s that they were able to win. So FaZe clutching up in the S&D is going to be the heavy favorite tonight against Team Caliber. A must-needed win, though, from TK. We'll see if they can get it. Our next matchup, though, at 8 o'clock is going to be Elevate versus Optic Nation. And this is a little bit of a matchup I've been looking forward to. I thought Optic Nation's riding a little bit high right now. They've only played against teams that are currently placed 9th through 12th in the Pro League. Going up against an Elevate squad that was perfect throughout pool play before bombing out in the bracket.
And now with this new roster change, this is another matchup for me that could go either way, because while Omen was feeling confident in their certain situation in the league, they go in this past weekend at UMG Dallas and have an absolutely abysmal weekend. How are they going to bounce back? That's a big question to watch in this series. Also, Elevate, the new pickup for this squad, and TJ, how's this going to wind up working out with Apathy no longer on the team? Is it going to really affect their hardpoint game too much? Obviously,
you're
TJ,
bringing an old team back together.
Yeah.
And really, you're just swapping out a 4th player this season.
And TJ has performed very well online so far, so you have to expect him to be a pretty good fill-in. Once again, the chemistry, or their shot calling, the differences between Apathy's play style versus TJ's. Will it have a major effect? Will it have a minor effect? This all remains to be seen.
Now, of course, you're going to see Orbit face off against Envious a little bit later as well. Envy, top 4 finish, top 5 finish, 6 finish. They got 6 to TCM. I correct myself 3 times there. Envy, top 6 finish at UMG Dallas, facing off against Orbit with a top 32 finish. Orbit failed to make it to the championship bracket.
Let
me say that one more time. A Pro League team who is currently 2-2 failed to make it to the championship bracket. Unlike squads like D&D, Rod Squad, TT, Mutiny, the list goes on.
It was by far one of the most frustrating weekends of Call of Duty for probably all the members on that squad. You go ahead.
I was going to say, if they don't win tonight,
possible,
look for a roster change.
Yeah.
In the next 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
This one, I think, is a big matchup for both teams. I think Orbit totally capable of winning this. You're going up against Elevate, who hasn't practiced with TJ on the lineup for quite a while. This is where you get a little bit of redemption. If you're Orbit, you got to beat Envy, later on tonight. Elevate, I don't know what to expect out of them. Are you going Elevate or Optic Nation now? After the change, because originally I picked Elevate.
Yeah, I think I'm going to actually go with Elevate still with this lineup. Owen just didn't do it for me this past weekend. And then you mentioned, Chris, they've only gotten wins so far against teams 9th through 12th. So it's not like they've taken some big matches so far in Season 3. I still think Elevate, TJ's performed very well so far in Season 3. I fully expect them to still be able to take this series. I think it'll go 3-1, ON only winning the S&D.
All right, we're already giving our predictions. Let's go to the full screen card, though, and catch you up on our predictions from last week. Jack will be playing the role of Maven, the worst predictor in the game now. Here's a look at our last set of matches from last week. You saw Matt, Benson, and I all nail it on the denial call versus Elevate. Maven was feeling lucky with Elevate. That didn't work out so well. Optic Nation versus Epsilon. Maven was almost right. Game 5, though, Mochilla domination time. Was able to lock it in for Nation. Then Matt, the only
This is
one
the
who
big
believed
call.
in Aches and Teepee. He's coached them both in the past. They stepped up big. That puts Matt in the lead, 19 to Ben's 18. I'm in third at 17, and then you got Maven at 14. Tonight's predictions, though, we've mixed them up a little bit. Let's take a look at our predictions for this evening. You're going to see I'm going Isolation against Rise. I believe in Parasite.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Matt, the only player right now, or the only player, I say, the only caster who had a different idea for game number 1 between those two squads. This is another big difference maker that if it goes in Matt's favor, he could take out another big lead there up against Benson with a 2-point lead there in the second matchup.
I'm so uncomfortable.
Fourth matchup, all the same teams
I'm
picked.
so uncomfortable after talking with Havoc with my ISO pick.
Yeah.
I
He
heard
literally
he's
didn't
a
say
good
it.
player,
Yeah.
was the quote. Rise Nation is gaining a player that they've played with in the past.
Yeah.
I'm going to put an asterisk next to that first matchup if things go wrong. Our predictions, we have a rule here. You got to get them in by 1 p.m.
This roster change happened 47 minutes ago.
Yeah. FaZe, I think, clear favorite. You saw him win UMG Dallas. Everyone is thinking that they are the only team to compete with Optic Gaming right now. I mean, they even 3-0. They trounced Denial.
Yep.
So FaZe, I think, definitely a team to continue watching throughout the Pro League. They're definitely a squad I'll be looking out for moving forward. When we come back from commercial break, that we got our Vulcan pregame. We got our picks. Jack and I went through the list. We picked out some players that think could earn us some big points on Vulcan.com. We'll give you the breakdown before the matches kick off at 6 p.m. Eastern.